Hello mọi người, mình tên là Duy, chủ của kênh Vật lý Chill. Đây sẽ là tập 4 của series phỏng vấn các thí sinh Mỹ tham dự kỳ thi Olympic vật lý quốc tế. Khách mời lần này của chúng ta chính là bạn Eugene Xia. Eugene sinh năm 2000 và cũng chung tuổi với mình luôn. Bạn hiện đang là sinh viên ở trường đại học MIT, chung trường với bạn Sean Chen ở tập 1. Và hiện tại bạn đang học 2 chuyên ngành, đó chính là vật lý và toán khoa học máy tính. Eugene đạt huy chương vàng IFO vào năm 2018 được tổ chức tại Bồ Đào Nha. Chưa hết, vào năm 2017, bạn còn tham gia một chương trình hè cực kỳ danh tiếng của Đại học MIT mang tên RSI, được viết tắt cho Research Science Institute. Đây chắc chắn sẽ là một thông tin rất là mới lạ dành cho các bạn Việt Nam. Nói ngắn gọn thì RSI là một chương trình nghiên cứu khoa học hè chỉ dành cho những bạn học sinh cấp 3 đến từ khắp mọi nơi ở trên toàn thế giới. Vì vậy, quá trình tuyển chọn cực kỳ gắt gao và cạnh tranh khi MIT chỉ chọn ra 80 bạn học sinh cấp 3 ưu tú nhất trong số hơn 2.000 đơn đăng ký. Các bạn trẻ này sẽ trải qua 5 tuần học tập và ăn ngủ ở MIT để có thể nghiên cứu về một chủ đề khoa học nào đó mà các bạn yêu thích như toán, lý, hóa, sinh và máy tính. Ngoài ra, họ còn được nhận sự hỗ trợ từ các giáo sư hàng đầu thế giới trong xuyên suốt quá trình thực hiện nghiên cứu. Đặc biệt hơn, các học sinh sau khi tham dự RSI, họ đều trúng tuyển vào các trường đại học top nước Mỹ như là Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Princeton, Yale và vân vân. Theo mình biết thì hình như Việt Nam chúng ta chưa có ai đại diện tham gia RSI thì phải. Và mình cũng có thể sai. Nhưng mong sao ở trong tương lai, các bạn trẻ nào đam mê nghiên cứu có thể cố gắng học tập để có thể được nhận vào chương trình bổ ích này nhé. Mọi chi phí để tham gia RSI đều được miễn phí và được chi trả bởi Đại học MIT, cho nên các bạn đừng quá lo lắng. Quay trở lại với Eugene, bạn đại diện cho tiểu bang Delaware của Mỹ tham dự RSI. Và chúng ta sẽ được nghe bạn chia sẻ những trải nghiệm ở trong buổi phỏng vấn. Một thông tin thú vị khác, mình biết đến Eugene thông qua một người bạn đang học ở MIT tên là Mario Leiva. Mình biết đến Mario khi cả hai chúng mình cùng nhau tham gia một chương trình hè khác của MIT vào năm lớp 11 tên là Mostech. Nó kéo dài trong vòng 6 tháng, bao gồm 2 tuần được ăn ngủ và học tập ở MIT, nhưng những ngày tháng còn lại đều là quá trình học online. Chương trình hè này nó không phải là về nghiên cứu khoa học, nhưng mình lại được học về các kiến thức dành cho sinh viên năm nhất liên quan đến điện tử, lập trình và viết các luận văn. Ở trong tương lai, mình sẽ làm một video để giải thích chi tiết về quá trình nộp đơn cho các chương trình hè của MIT dành cho các bạn học sinh cấp 3 như là RSI, Mostech và nhiều hơn nữa. Cho nên các bạn hãy nhớ đón xem nhé. Tham gia cùng mình trong buổi phỏng vấn, đó chính là anh Justin Chen, người Singapore. Anh vừa tốt nghiệp ngành quan hệ quốc tế từ Đại học USC, cũng chung trường với mình. Và bây giờ, mình không để các bạn đợi lâu nữa. Chúng ta hãy cùng nhau vào buổi phỏng vấn nào.
Hello.
Oh, hi Eugene. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, let's do a quick introduction. Yes, my name is Dui, and I'm the representative of the Vietnamese physics community. And my job is to help this community, to interview the Olympiad from the US so our students can learn more about the learning culture, your preparation tips, and also maybe inspire them to study abroad in the future. And yes, I'm the ex-roommate of Mario in the Mostech program in 2017. So we kind of have the
really
same
cool
friend.
Yeah, so I'm Justin. I'm helping Dewey as a project coordinator, and I'm also a graduate of the University of Southern California.
Nice.
So Eugene, about physics, do you always have passion for it, or does it come from some experience, or you being curious on your own?
Yeah, so I guess I've always been pretty curious about the world, and I generally had an interest in science. And I guess when I was younger, I would pretty much go to the library and get as many science books as I could. I think it was really in, I think the middle of middle school that I really started becoming interested in physics. What happened was essentially one of my friends was reading a book, and I saw the book, and I was like, oh, this book's pretty interesting. And then I borrowed that same book from the library, and it turns out was about physics from an information theory perspective. As a result of that, I was pretty hooked, and I decided I really wanted to learn about physics. But before that time, I think it was just a general interest in science.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm curious though, what made you want to like do the International Physics Olympiad? Like, how did you find out about it in school and sort of what motivated you to really try it and give it a shot?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember exactly when I learned about it, but it was roughly around the same time I learned about most of the high school math competitions.
Hmm.
So this was also like around the time when I was in middle school that I learned about like all these competitions. I guess I found out about it like mostly from my parents who talked with other parents
Mhm.
who knew people who did these things. Also, it just sounds like a pretty cool experience since you get to meet some of the best physicists or best high school physicists from around the world, and that's
Definitely.
always pretty cool.
Yeah, and I just had a follow-up question to that.
Uh-huh.
So what, because you really went really far in that Olympiad. So I'm curious, was it your parents that kind of pushed you to do better and strive to get that gold medal, or was it kind of your own interest in really setting a high bar?
I guess it was kind of a mix. So I think it was mostly myself that wanted to do well in this,
Mhm.
um, both because I think my parents were okay with me not going as high as I did, but like they definitely wanted me to do well. And then as a result of that, I decided I wanted to do as well as I could if I was going to participate. And also partially like for my high school physics teacher, because he's had like students do various physics competition, but he hasn't had a student the team in a very long time. And so it was
Definitely.
also partially for him since he's like somewhat close to retirement and like sort
Wow.
of I might be the last student he has.
That's kind of how to say it. What's the word for that? But nostalgic or not like very heartwarming, I think that's the word to say. It's very nice. I mean, kind of like School of Rock, trying to impress
Uh-huh.
your professor or teacher, that kind of thing. That's really cool.
Oh yes, that's so impressive to hear too. I'm also curious in one thing, like you said like you joined like math competition before, like so I'm pretty sure that's gonna be the AMC series. So
Oh yes.
what make you like switch to the physics, even though you joined the math?
Yeah, I guess I was always pretty interested in both, but physics was something that you could probably relate to more in real life because it actually describes everything that, well, how the universe works, I guess. Math was, I guess, more abstract. I mean, it's sort of the language of everything, but like pure math itself is it's its own thing that you don't really see in the world. So I guess the difference is that physics is something that it really shows you why something works the way it does.
Wow, that's a very interesting view. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Oh, right now, can you talk more about your iPhone learning journey? Like for example, when is like you start to learn calculus?
Yeah, let's see. So I was first exposed to calculus in sixth grade, or like roughly when I was 12. Basically, there was this one person in my school who loved essentially showing off like various things he like learned about or like saw. He was like showing off, oh, there's this thing called calculus and it allows you to calculate the area under like curves of functions. And I was like, oh, I've never heard of this thing before. And I decided to, investigate more. And I think it was like by around 13, I had like a pretty solid grasp on calculus. The textbook I learned from was from the Art of Problem Solving website, which is pretty well known for being a really good resource for math competitions. I guess I also watched like a few Khan Academy videos for like multivariable stuff, but yeah, it was mostly that textbook from that website.
Wow. Oh wow, that's that's so amazing to hear. Like you start learning calculus during your sixth grade. We like interview previous contestant. Most of them start learning calculus during ninth grade, but you are very exceptional. Like you start doing sixth grade. This is somewhat amazing to hear. No, that's
I guess I
brilliant. Like
was
sixth
exposed
grade.
to.
Yes. So about physics. So let's say after sixth grade, you start learning physics during seventh grade, I would say. And then
Mhm.
which textbook do you remember? Any textbook that you start learning or reading in or any source?
Well, I got interested in physics a bit after that, which is actually pretty good because calculus-based physics, in my opinion, is sort of the best way to learn physics. My journey through physics is pretty non-standard, I would say. Most people who I know do these competitions, they have like a specified set of books that they go through. I think what the most popular one is like How Do They Resonate King or something like that.
Yes.
But I did I was completely different. I took that like random college level textbook, and that one I think it was called Physics for Scientists and Engineers. I think that's the name. And then it was really just practicing a bunch of problems for a while to have like better intuition for everything. And then I started reading the Feynman lectures, which was pretty insightful. So I read through the first book, and I read like a pretty big chunk of the second book. And so that exposed me to like some more higher level ideas. It wasn't necessarily learning new material, but it was making sure I understood the material I already knew to like a very high level, and also just getting better intuition for everything and improving my problem solving ability. That was mostly what I did.
Oh wow. Oh my God, like you have so much time, like from seventh grade until like high school, you have like so many years, to practice and strengthen your knowledge. But for our like previous iPhone, they have like let's say from ninth grade until like 11th grade. That's a very short year. But for you, you have a lot of time to strengthen and get that intuition. That's very amazing to hear.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, how was your experience doing the RSI, and how did you kind of balance that with practicing for the Olympiad?
So for one thing, I guess I'll answer the second question first. So RSI and Eiffel, I participated in different years.
Mhm.
So RSI, I participated in 2017, and then Eiffel, I participated in 2018. So it really didn't conflict that much.
Mhm.
I guess the most I could say was, I guess technically during the time I participated in I guess I didn't explicitly like practice for Olympiad stuff, but it doesn't really matter that much since it's like a year apart. So
Mhm.
I don't think it had too much effect. And as for my experience during RSI, it's definitely pretty fun. It's always pretty cool to meet other people who are very interested in research from around the US, which is most of the students, and also like a bunch of students from around the world, because there's always a few international students who participate. So it's definitely a very like rewarding experience in that aspect. Also very rewarding because they have a lot of guest lecturers who are very renowned in their field, and it's
Mhm.
always super interesting to listen to them. For example, we had Professor Kettery, who won the Nobel Prize in physics for his work on
Wow.
creating a Bose-Einstein condensate. He gave a lecture, and that was really cool.
So did RSA kind of motivate you to pursue like a further career in the physics field, and like well, did you have like a memorable moment during RSI?
I guess I can't really pinpoint like an exact moment that's memorable in RSI. In terms of like whether or not it motivated me, I think by the time I participated in RSI, I was already pretty interested in physics. So, I mean, I guess it didn't really change that since I was already interested.
Oh, Eugene, can I ask like before joining RSI, did you publish any research paper before joining the program
Oh,
like you
no.
already had? Oh, so basically after the program you actually have some publication?
No, still no.
Oh, still no. Oh, but like
Yeah,
it's give you the feeling of doing research, right?
yeah, it's really, yeah, it just sort of gives you an opportunity to like see what research is like. With RSI, whether or not your research is something that's or like what you do is something that's publishable, it really depends on who you get as a mentor and what kind of project they give you. Yeah, that part is kind of based on like luck, I guess.
And
But it's definitely an interesting experience.
was RSI the reason that you didn't join IFO in that year?
So technically, you're not allowed to participate in the training camp if you participate in RSI in like, so you can't participate in both in the same year. So I would not know whether or not I would have made it. But I also remember that year was a year that I kind of messed up in one of the rounds of the competition. So, I mean, I guess I still end up getting like a gold medal in the USFO competition, but like, in my opinion, I did screw up quite badly on the exam. So I'm also not sure if I would have made the team, even if I didn't go to RSI. And then whether or not I would make IFO, I have no idea.
Yes. So can you tell us about your experience doing the IFO training camp?
Oh, yes. So I think the training camp was quite intense, in my opinion. It was basically every day you wake up at around 6 a.m., which is super early. And then basically you have breakfast and you immediately go to lecture / maybe exam, depending on the day. And then after that, you go back, you have lunch, and then immediately go back to lecture / exams. And then I think at roughly 5 p.m., you're finally done with everything. And so that's when you can finally like kind of relax and talk with the other participants. But then the very next day, the whole thing repeated again. So
Oh my God.
it's roughly like, I think the camp lasts, I want to say like 10 days or
Yes,
something
10
like
days.
that. Yeah, so it's a very intense 10 days because you have this very rigid schedule, basically packed with like a lot of physics, and there's definitely pressure because you're also competing with everyone else to get a
Yes.
spot on the team. So
Wow.
that experience, super intense.
Wow. But finally you make it, right? You kind of like, yeah, out of like 20 students, you're one of the 5 that got into the national team that represent the US to go to the IFO, right? Even all of your hard work finally, get paid off, like
Yeah,
from 6th grade until that time.
yeah, that was pretty exciting. Yeah.
How did it feel when you won gold? Like, were you expecting to win gold? Like, the moment you kind of put down the paper and, timer's up, you finish all your questions. Did you think that, I'm definitely going to win gold after it because you definitely answered all these questions right? Or did it come as more of a surprise to win gold?
At the time, I thought I did really well on the theoretical portion of the exam. So I wasn't too worried about that aspect, but I was really worried about the experimental portion. First of all, because it was a really difficult experimental exam. There was some really low score, but like I think the highest score was like 16 or something. Whereas in the past, like around like a lot of the gold medalists would get 16 on the experimental portion. I definitely thought I did really poorly on that part of the exam. So I was pretty worried that because of that, I might not have made gold medal. Yeah, I was afraid that part was going to pull me back. So I guess I was pretty relieved when I found out that I did, in fact, get gold. Since I thought it was borderline between gold and silver, but I guess ultimately I was like pretty comfortably in the gold region. So I was pretty much just relieved.
Yeah. So when you got like the gold medal, like did you jump or like yelling or like telling your teammate, "Yeah, I make it"? Did you do anything like that or just do inside?
Well, so I found out about it by our team texting our coach in the middle of, I think, one of the lectures that we were in for like all the IFO students. So certainly wasn't able to jump up or anything. But yeah, I smiled. I guess that's the most I could do in that environment.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to ask you something more present about MIT. So kind of what is your college major for undergraduate?
So I am currently majoring in physics officially, and then
Mhm.
I'm probably going to double major in mathematics for computer
Oh,
science.
in choosing a major as
Yes.
physics, what
Mhm.
is your intent in terms of putting it in like a career? As in, how do you plan to like? Is there a specific area of physics that you want to sort of concentrate in? Because I mean, physics is a
Mhm.
very broad field.
Yes, that is true. Yes, physics is indeed pretty broad, and I guess at the very beginning, like when I heard about like all the like the forefront of physics right now, which
Mm.
is sort of the fact that like quantum field theory and general relativity are things that don't really go together that well. That was initially what one of the things that I wanted to like maybe think about working on, just trying to bridge the gap between those two areas. But like I guess sort of that perspective has changed a bit after like learning more about things. If I were to like try to answer the question of is there a specific area of physics, I personally just don't think I know enough about all the areas to make a good decision on that. There are definitely other areas of physics that are super interesting, which in particular for me, I think having learned some statistical mechanics, I'm starting to both in that area and also in like condensed matter physics as being like
Oh.
another area that seems pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's a valid thing. I mean, I think we all started college without really knowing what exactly we wanted to do. I mean, me personally, I kind of switched my major from poli sci to international relations because I realized I
Uh-huh.
didn't want to do poli sci. I wanted to do something more global, and so that's why I chose
Mhm.
international relations because I found that more interesting.
Oh, Eugene, like, oh, can you give us the reason why you choose the second major, the math and comp sci?
Yeah. So okay, right. So this was sort of originally I was planning on just doing comp sci because I did also do like some programming for fun. In I guess throughout like middle school slash high school. Also, it's like a very coding in general is a very useful skill to have. I think most research nowadays uses programming to either do to process data or like do numerical calculations or whatever. So yeah, initially I wanted to just do comp sci, but then I guess later I also realized there was a lot of math that I wanted to learn because I guess physics is built on the language of mathematics, and there's definitely a lot of deep mathematical relations between areas of physics. You wouldn't really know about unless you yes learned at higher level maths. So sort of because of that factor, I also took a bunch of math classes. And then I realized that I'd already done a bunch of the classes for this specific mathematics and computer science major. So I was like, okay, I might as well just go with this major instead.
Oh wow, so I wonder like how could you handle, two double major but at MIT? That's very challenging, right? So how can you handle like yeah, do you feel like pressure or like sometimes you feel stressful because you have to handle two major, but as like one of the most prestigious school like MIT.
I guess it's so for me, I guess one part is that because I did do so much physics already in high school, basically because I took the AP physics class and passed the AP exams, I already had credit for one of those classes, one of the physics classes. And then just by virtue of having done so much physics in high school, I tested out of a lot of physics classes at MIT. So in terms of physics classes, I actually didn't really have that much compared to someone who didn't have as much experience. So double majoring in that case would definitely be a lot more difficult. I guess we're like handling the stress, I guess, since definitely something that's present. I'm not sure if I handled that. I just drank a lot of coffee and
Yeah.
made sure I did the work.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you.
What's your favorite type of coffee? Do you like, cappuccino, latte?
So I'm not actually sure what type I got, but there's this store that sells like bottled coffee. Supposedly it's like called like double shot coffee or something like that.
Oh,
And yeah, it's basically supposed to be like two normal cups of coffee into like one can. I just had that. That kind of powered me through the nights where I really had a lot of work.
Nice.
Then again, I don't recommend this to anyone.
Yes. Yeah.
oh, that's it. That's a good tactic. I mean, I drink a lot of coffee myself as well, just to stay awake, and do those kind of things. But I'm curious, being at MIT, I'm sure it's a very, competitive school. You have a lot of people competing. And so how is the culture there, specifically within your major? Do you feel kind of pressured to exceed in your classes, or is it more cooperative and you meet a lot of your peers and you work with them?
Yeah, so MIT culture in general is quite cooperative. I don't think I've really met people who really just wanted to be or compete with other students to be like top of their class. I think generally everyone tries to help people who don't understand the material as well. Yeah, so it's pretty cooperative.
Oh yeah, that's good to know. Are you in any campus organizations?
So for me, not really. I guess I
Hmm.
volunteered for like some things, and so like I volunteered for competitions run by MIT in the
Oh,
past,
okay.
and I guess I'm also part of an a cappella group that's it's the
Oh,
low time commitment one.
Hmm.
But that's about it, pretty much.
That's cool.
oh,
That's great to know. Yeah, I'm also me myself. I was involved in a student government, so
Oh,
I kind
nice.
of did a lot of those things. Hosting events. I mainly did it because I got paid, which is great, and so
Hmm,
I got paid to put on events, and so essentially I could host events that I wanted to do, and we can get free food for all the students who come.
hmm.
oh yes. And aside from being an IFO medalist, do you think like what else that make you stand out during your application, like college application process?
Right. So I actually, when like I completed my application before I went to Eiffel,
Mhm.
so it wasn't something that I knew I was gonna do at the time. Probably the things that made me stand out were the fact that I already done pretty well in the U.S. physics competitions, and also like I've done pretty well in U.S. math competitions. So those things definitely made me stand out. I guess those are the two main areas.
Oh yes, that's fine. Yeah, and I think yeah, like if you have those, like a strong application because you have so many international achievement like IFO and also RSI too, right? That's make
Oh
you super
yeah,
stand out because RSI
yeah.
like it's very competitive to get in, right? It's only 80
Mhm.
students selected from like a pool of like let's say 2,000, I believe. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
that's
don't
super
know the
competitive
exact
and
numbers.
also the student there has to be super gifted too.
Yeah, sure. So I'm curious, can you talk about some of your research projects at MIT, and are you doing any kind of like internships on the side or any of that sort?
Yeah, is about black holes. I guess specifically these things called quasi-normal modes, which is a fancy term. I guess most easily explained through analogy. Kind of like if you have a bell and you ring it, it has like a characteristic set of frequencies that we can hear. Sort of you have the same kind of thing happening in space time. If you have like some field in a space time in a black hole space time, and you sort of ring the field or like basically perturb it in some way, there's going to be a characteristic set of, I guess, vibrations that essentially tell you properties of the black hole and like the space-time you're working on. And
Wow.
so the idea is that I would want to calculate these resonances. And yeah, that's essentially what the current project is about.
Oh, that's an awesome project to hear. Like dealing with like something black hole. And oh yes, about internship. Like, do you seeking for any internship, or you just doing project with MIT?
So far I've only just done projects with MIT. I haven't done internships yet. I'm actually not sure if I will, since it's mostly, I guess most of them seem geared towards like computer scientists or I guess other majors. I guess there are a few for physicists, but I feel like I can get like a similar level of experience just by doing research at MIT. So it's not something I've looked into that much.
Yeah, so looking forward, what are your future career plans after graduation? You've done all these research projects and especially with your focus on physics as well as, dabbling in computer science and mathematics. Do you have I mean, I know you might not have an idea of what you exactly want to pursue, like what field of study and in physics, but do you have an idea of what kind of career you plan to pursue?
So the goal definitely is to go into academia. Since I think research is very cool because you get to discover things that no one knew about before. So to obviously to sort of go down that path, I am going to go to grad school after I graduate. And then I guess probably postdoc and hopefully try to become a professor. But of course, I'm not certain where things will actually go. But that's the goal currently.
Definitely.
So for our Vietnamese student who self-study physics or maybe have no clue where to start, so what tips and recommendation that you want to share with them?
I guess in my opinion, the main thing is to really make sure you understand everything, which I guess is a very broad statement. By what I mean by understand is you are able to boil physics down to just a few fundamental things for each area. So, for example, in mechanics, you might realize like everything basically comes down to like F equals ma, and be able to essentially derive everything else from those very few like basic building blocks. I think once you can do that, then you will have a very good understanding of that area of physics. I guess you could also ask a question of how do you get to that step? And for that, I really don't have a good answer besides just you have to practice a lot and really think things through. Yeah.
Or how about like any word of encouragement that you want to share or to talk to our student?
Well, good luck. I hope you enjoy your journey through physics. It's I think, one of the most mind-blowing sciences out there. And yeah, best of luck in the future.
Oh yes, I think that's all the question that we have asked you. Yes, thank you so much, Eugene, for joining. And yeah, it's kind of like unfortunate because Mario, he's unable to make it. I wish Mario can go here. So yeah, like all three of us, like I'm his ex roommate and you kind of like his neighbor in the dorm. Wait, so you guys like room like dorm like next to each other or something? Like
yeah. So last year our rooms were actually next to each other.
So you guys like keep going like each other room and then play around and then hanging out?
Yeah. Actually, I play soccer with Mario a lot.
Ooh.
So that's always really fun. He got me into learning guitar, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow. Yeah, I hope like after pandemic, maybe I go to Boston to gonna see like two of you guys. Hopefully.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool. Yeah, yes. Actually, Mario, I think, is probably coming to Cambridge for spring semester.
Ooh.
So he will be back in the area. I currently live in Massachusetts, so I can visit when I want to.
Oh, because I heard because I heard from Sean Chen. He's also another gold medalist. He said like during spring 2021, you guys back to school, right? Like physical classroom, no more online.
It depends on the class. I think most are still online, but it's sort of the case that students who are not seniors can come back to campus. But not everyone chooses to do so because obviously the pandemic is still going on and people feel unsafe. Also, fun fact: Sean Chen and I share a birthday.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
2 years apart, but
Oh,
we have the same date.
oh. Actually, he's the first one that started this Olympiad series.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So once again, Eugene, on the behalf of the Vietnamese physics community, yes, I and Justin, like, thank you so much for your participation. And you share us like a lot of valuable information. Like, for example, you start learning calculus during sixth grade. This is something like, very new to our student. And I hope that like, this can inspire, hopefully some middle schooler, they interested in calculus, they can do the self-investigation, self-study just like you. They can have like motivation and some inspiration to pursue advanced mathematics, physics, or maybe one day they can go to MIT and can do some research project with you too. Yes. So thank you so much, Eugene. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so
Bye.
much too.
Thank you
Yes,
so
nice to meet you
much.
too.
Wow, Eugene quả là một anh bạn rất thú vị đúng không nào? Chúng ta hãy cùng nhau điểm qua lộ trình học của bạn ấy nhé. Thật ra thì mình cũng không biết nói sao về ông này nữa. Toàn chuyện lạ không à. Eugene bắt đầu tự học giải tích từ năm lớp 6 hay 12 tuổi và đọc cuốn sách tên Calculus được phát hành bởi ALPS. Thật sự thì mình cũng không nhớ mình làm cái quái gì ở năm lớp 6 nữa, ngoài việc ăn ngủ hay báo hại gia đình. Chưa hết, Eugene cũng xem các video dạy giải tích 3 từ Khan Academy, một kênh học thuật rất là nổi tiếng ở trên YouTube. Sang năm lớp 7, bạn bắt đầu học vật lý và đọc cuốn Physics for Scientists and Engineers của Surway. Sách này ở Việt Nam có bán, tên là Vật lý cho nhà khoa học và kỹ sư. Một cuốn sách nói rất đầy đủ về các kiến thức vật lý đại cương và các bạn cần một chút kiến thức về giải tích để có thể bắt đầu học. Ngoài ra, Eugene còn tìm đọc The Feynman Lecture on Physics. Đây là tài liệu giảng dạy của nhà vật lý học nổi tiếng người Mỹ tên là Richard Feynman. Ông cũng giành được giải Nobel vật lý vào năm 1965. Các tài liệu này đều có miễn phí trên mạng, cho nên các bạn có thể thoải mái tìm kiếm nhé. Kể từ năm lớp 7 trở đi, Eugene tập trung giải nhiều dạng bài tập để có thể củng cố kiến thức và cải thiện tư duy của mình. Ok, về phần cảm nhận, mình thấy Eugene là một người cực kỳ hòa đồng và khiêm tốn luôn. Cái cách mà bạn nói chuyện, nó rất là thoải mái và hài hước. Bạn cũng rất là đa tài nữa khi vừa biết hát và chơi violon. Nếu mình được ngồi lại để bàn bạc về khoa học cũng như nhậu lai rai thì chắc chắn rằng mình sẽ mời Eugene. Tiếp theo, mình rất là ngưỡng mộ cái tinh thần hiếu học đáng kinh ngạc của bạn. Phải nói, đây là một người cực kỳ đam mê khoa học. Ở năm lớp 6, khi một người bạn khoe khoang về việc học giải tích, Eugene đã tự mình lao đầu vào để tìm tòi và tự học bộ môn này. Sự kiên trì là một yếu tố rất đáng khâm phục, bởi vì nếu là mình, khi thấy các ký hiệu như là đạo hàm, tích phân vào năm lớp 6, chắc mình sẽ chạy bỏ mất dép quá. Cuối cùng, những nỗ lực của Eugene đã được đền đáp xứng đáng khi bạn được chọn vào chương trình RSI cũng như thắng huy chương vàng IFO. Qua đó, ta có thể thấy, đối với đam mê thì thích vẫn chưa đủ. Chúng ta phải tính thêm cả sự kiên trì, ham học và tự học ở đây nữa. Câu chuyện của Eugene là một trường hợp số ít khi bạn có duyên đến với học thuật từ rất sớm. Vì vậy, chúng ta không cần phải cố gắng theo đuổi lộ trình này. Hãy cứ để mọi thứ đến với bạn một cách tự nhiên nhất. Thay vào đó, chúng ta nên học hỏi cái tinh thần hiếu học cũng như sự kiên trì theo đuổi ước mơ của Eugene. Hãy học tập vừa sức bản thân, không cần chạy quá nhanh, và một ngày những nỗ lực của bạn sẽ được đền đáp xứng đáng. Qua 4 khách mời vừa rồi, những bạn tham dự đều là người Mỹ gốc châu Á như là Sean, Kevin, Jimmy và Eugene. Vì thế, ở trong tập 5, chúng ta sẽ gặp một quái vật khác là người Mỹ trắng. Liệu người này có gì nổi trội so với các khách mời trước hay không? Các bạn hãy nhớ đón xem nhé. Và đó cũng là những gì mình có ở trong video này. Cảm ơn các bạn đã ủng hộ. Mong rằng mọi người đừng quên like, share và subscribe cho kênh nhé. Xin chào tạm biệt và hẹn gặp lại.